Hello, YouTube. Welcome to my channel, Marriage, Politics, and Sports. Today, I'll be talking about the recent failures of LeBron's I Promise School, educating its students, and my suggestions to resolve the problem. That's one of the things I like to do. I want to come up with suggestions and solutions. But first, hit the like button for my YouTube, just so that I can get into the YouTube algorithm, and share this video. Please let me know what you think. Let's conversate about it. If you have some of your own solutions that you want to offer, and make sure you put it in the chat. Okay. The LeBron schools opened in 2018. I think initially it was grade 1 through 3, and the school has expanded from grades 1 through 8. And depending on where your source of information is, they have up to like 400 students in the school, at risk students attending. In July 2023, a scathing news report was released highlighting the fact that the I Promise School had not produced a single eighth grader who could pass the state math test in the past 3 years. They also were deficient in reading as well. So who's at fault, and what can be done about it? So this video is my, quick resolution to the problem. I don't think we got to do a whole lot of stuff, but just my quick resolution to what I think is could help solve the problem. But first, what are the root causes to the problem, right? So at the top of the pyramid, of course, is LeBron James himself. He's not blaming this from the standpoint that he may have put too much faith in the administrators to do the job, whether he was micromanaging or not. So some of these people, just were looking for a paycheck. Probably, I think they replaced the principal. Okay, whether he was blindsided by the news or not, it's a bad look for him. His foundation put up the initial funds, I should say, but the state is bearing the brunt of using taxpayers' dollars to run the program. Okay. And so one of the things that I thought was really unfair to LeBron James was the attack on him and his character by Candace Owens and Jason Whitlock. I think, that they levied too much, ill will towards him for doing such a noble thing. Because whether these kids pass or not, the infrastructure, the basic idea, the I Promise School is actually a good one. It just has to be run properly, you know. So the next in line in this pyramid, the administrators. It's obvious the administrators failed because they had this data and they knew what was coming for years. They didn't do any mid-course corrections. And then the data leaks out and LeBron looks bad, but it really looks bad on them as well. Because one of the things you could infer is that these kids were being socially promoted even though they were underperforming. And that's not a good idea. That's not good for anybody. It's not good for the kids. It's not good for the schools. It's not good for anybody. So these kids are moving on to into high school and into college, or maybe in high school, and they can't compete. Okay, so next in line, of course, is the teachers themselves, right? The teachers are either complicit because they have the boots on the ground, so they either knew what was happening, and either they complain and try to do something about it, or they just let it happen because they're getting their paychecks. Who knows? So that part of the story hasn't really been told. And of course, the parents, to me, are seemingly absent. We know that most of these kids are coming from single parent households. And whether those single parents are diligent about the kids getting their work done, it seems obvious that they're not. Right? They probably most parents look at school as a respite from babysitting their children, to babysit their children for 8 hours a day. So one of my solutions will make them even feel even better. So we'll get to that later. And then next in line, of course, is the student themselves. Actually, were they actually trying, or could they not get the help they needed to simply perform up to the level, because the school has low expectations for them, or at least was showing low expectations for them, or else they would have probably done better. So, in a nutshell, there's enough blame to go around to everybody. So regardless of this immediate disappointment, right, with the I Promise school, it's a great idea, the infrastructure in place. So how can we improve it? What needs to happen to make it better, right? And who needs to be involved? So I think new mandates have to be explored and implemented with the understanding that some things have to change for improvement to take place. It can't be some liberal idea of pampering the kids. There's got to be something tangible that you can see that's different and the kids can recognize as different to get them to do their work and to try to improve and build their own self-esteem to actually get what they need to get out of this program. So, as the saying goes, the definition of insanity is doing the same things and expecting different results. So, if they're going with implementing fixes that are the same failures, like throwing money at this thing and nothing else, that's a mistake. Okay, so the entire staff of this I Promise school, I think, needs to be reevaluated. Everybody from top to bottom, maybe some kind of relook at their credentials, look at their motivations. Are they there for a paycheck or do they actually want to save kids' lives? I would ask them that again. So here's my thought and my theory. I think that it should extend the school day from 8 o'clock to 6:30 on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I think the kids should stay there. Of course, you have lunch and you have a dinner period, but I think the kids should stay in school for those 3 days and have their homework done mandatorily throughout the year. Don't go home to that same ratchet house that you come from with a broken parent and those people who don't care about you. Keep their butts in school until they do their homework or do their studying for those 2 hours. Now, I'll give them a Tuesday and Thursday break, but that's what I think you should do, right? And then for the kids, and you have some tests along the way, and the kids who are still falling behind, I think they should come to school on Saturday for mandatory tutoring services, math, science, whatever they need, in English, reading. So so if I had to increase the budget to do something tangible, that's what I would do. And so I think that's required. Hire some tutors, even if it's not the teachers themselves, giving them overtime or whatever you have to do to make them work to get these students up to par. And then, of course, you're going to have, aptitude tests that mirror what the math, the standardized math test for that county or that state is. So the kids are improving. So I think that's required. So of course you're going to have to increase the budget, and that's the only downside that I see. You're going to have to increase the budget. You're going to have to pay the teachers some overtime. And, but here's the kicker with that, right? So here's some of the benefits, I think. One, we already know that the infrastructure of the I Promise school is stable, right? We know that it's built on a solid foundation. So you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. You know, it's still a great idea, and it can really help at-risk kids get ahead. And if you're going to give them college scholarships and you're going to promise them the future, you need to do everything now when you could change their lives when they're young. And so, whatever the reason why they're failing is that something wasn't being implemented. That's all I can say. Okay, so now, in addition to the additional financial expense, the one good thing is that it's quantifiable. You know what the increased budget is for, so you could measure the success of the plan based on, first of all, the success of the new plan is measurable because you know how much more money you're spending. And if the students start to come out and they could pass the aptitude test and they could do all that stuff, you know that additional money was actually going to help the school and get build good students. So the key is really to increase the amount of time that the kids stay in school. And here's another thing, there's another benefit, right? The longer they're under the aegis of the school or the supervisory of the school, that keeps them off the streets. That keeps them focused. That keeps them, I promise school should be something different than a regular public school or than a regular, even parochial school. It should have some mandates that no other school has. And the kids need to sign up to those mandates. Say, hey, listen, you go to this school, we're going to essentially be like tiger moms. And this is what you're going to have to do to go do. And the kids who don't want to comply or miss the school, you got to kick them out. They can't stay. All right. So if they're from the administrative, so for the administrators, here's another benefit I think. So if they implement this new plan, the administrators, the teachers, the students, and the parents who comply all have a part to play in this correction. And I think that that's when, that can build up pride in success. We made some changes. Everybody's a part of the change. And then LeBron himself probably would need to have more progress reports on what's going on. Whether he shows his face, but he needs to be more than just a face showing up, once in a blue moon. I think that that's something that he might want to do. But I'm not saying he should be hands-on because he's not a teacher, but he should have a vested interest in this getting better. And so I just think the key is to make these kids do homework at school. Really, in a nutshell, make them do homework and make sure that they're studying under the supervision of the school, the teachers. And a lot of those kids will comply because they don't have nothing else better to do than to learn. Well, anyway, so I don't want to belabor this. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to this video. Comment down below. What's your solution? If you have one, let me know. Let's have a conversation about it. Anyway, all pain. Over and out. Marriage, politics, and sports.